Welcome to The Ascended Table, the podcast where we blend science-backed advice with supernatural secrets and deeply personal stories to help you build the life you truly desire. If you've ever felt like there must be a deeper level to health, success, and personal power, you're in the right place. Get ready to pull up a seat. The truth is being served. This is The Ascended Table. Today, the table is glowing because we are joined by a dear friend, a powerhouse of transformation, a woman who embodies ascending. She's a TV host and an empowerment coach, and someone I consider my soul sis, the incredible Tiffany Hendra.
Aww. Where's the tissue? It's so good to be here. Thank you for having me. I am so excited. I feel like, yes, I'm with my soul sisters. We have had such great conversations. And I mean, you and I have grown so much in what's been like 5 or 6 years now.
Yeah. We've like trekked through the jungles together and
Yeah.
like
battled bats flying off trees.
It's been a lot, but then also like I feel like this is going to be a great conversation just because of who we three are, and I'm very excited about this. But thank you so much for joining us.
So excited. Good to be here.
Let's jump right in.
Okay.
So Tiffany, your journey hasn't always been so glamorous. I know that you've modeled and you've been modeling worldwide on TV, everything. But you do have a great story to tell our listeners about how you changed your life for the better. Can you tell us about that?
It wasn't my choice. It's not like I said, I'm going to change my life. I almost OD'd on a bathroom floor in West Hollywood. So living the life, that dream, chasing fame, fortune, and also like chasing, but also running away from the past. But I found myself, so-called living that dream and was living a lie on the inside. So it's interesting when I say that. I was an actress by profession, but I was also wearing a lot of masks in my personal life to hide the pain. But yeah, I was really, really BFFs with the concoction of cocaine, opiates, and a bottle or 2 or 3 of wine. Oh. And I almost OD'd, yeah.
Wow. So when you woke up that like on the floor, what were you thinking? Like, was there something that like clicked in you that said, I can't do this anymore? Or was it just like a gradual change? Like you weren't happy and you were like, I just don't feel good. I want to change.
No, this was one of those rubber hit the road. You know, the saying, God will give you like a flick upside the ear, or like a 2x4, like the brick.
That was a 2x4.
This was like the whole building crumbling down on top of me. And I had that lucid moment waking up off the bathroom floor. I was in pain, my stomach. I did feel like I was dying. I'm like, I'm dying. I was sweating. I was soaking wet on this bathroom floor. And I immediately thought, I got so much to do. On this dirt, the West Hollywood apartments that are built in the 30s, they're like pink tile or baby yellow tile, and like you can see the dirt in the ground. Yes. That's what I was like, plastered, and just thinking, this is not how I'm going out. This is not it for me. I have so much to do. And it was the first time I'd even acknowledged a higher presence or a higher being or God. And I just said, please don't let me die. Like, just don't let me die.
Well, we're glad you're still here because you're an amazing human being and you're changing the planet and lifting everybody up.
Thank you. So. But I think that I've said this before. It's interesting. All the healing now is that a rock bottom, and it could be different for anyone. It could be a death in the family. It could be a divorce. It could be a bankruptcy. Like everyone's level. It doesn't have to be you almost actually die.
Right.
You get a second chance to take a look at what wasn't working in your life before. Right. And then somebody did hear me because I didn't die. So I felt like I had a new purpose in life, a new mission to figure out, like, why am I here? I'm doing all these modeling jobs. It's not very fulfilling. I thought that's what I wanted to do. I'm on the cover of magazines and I'm on TV, but I'm not fulfilled. So rock bottom, you get an opportunity, a second chance to say, okay, what do I really want? Like, I didn't die. Yeah. So it's a wake-up call.
So what did you change? Like, what were the first kind of things that you started changing, if you can recall that? Like, did you decide to not drink or change your drug habits or?
Oh, absolutely. Not that I didn't slip up a few times after that,
nobody's
but
perfect.
right. And by the grace, I did not become an addict. I mean,
That's
it
good.
was social, it was anxiety driven, but I put myself what I call a self-imposed rehab. I wrapped a TV show in LA, actually came to Dallas because I had girlfriends that lived here, and I had money in the bank, shipped my car here, and put myself through what I call a self-imposed rehab. I found the AA book at Goodwill for 99 cents, went through the steps on my own.
Wow, that's really
I was celibate for almost a year, no alcohol, and then of course went back to LA and get wrapped up with the same crew and slipped up a little bit.
So that's kind of one of the things, breaking your habits, changing your environment. Like, so
It is.
that's
It is.
one of the things, right?
What I would say is that breaking our habits and hitting a rock bottom is not a bad thing. No. It just is information and a choice presented to you. And I think that's what you really called you to rise above and transform your life, which I think is just amazing. And that when people hit their rock bottom, I think don't be afraid of that. Pay attention and celebrate that, because now you have another opportunity to go a different way. And it sounds like you did that.
Yeah, second chances, I'm so grateful for it. And I
Absolutely.
have had little mini rock bottoms since then.
I think we all do. Yeah.
You have health issues, menopause, right?
Perimenopause.
Yeah, different things that shift your identity, and then you have to come back to that core identity. But it was even, who am I? I get an opportunity actually to figure out who the hell I am.
Who I am now, because it changes from season to season. And so I think that's such an exciting thing for people to understand, is that you can change your life at any point in time, and that in this lifetime we will have many different seasons with different challenges and different opportunities there.
When I tell my young girls, I work with a lot of girls in college, SMU here in Dallas, and I tell people, you don't have to get to the point where you're so stubborn, where you almost kill yourself from all of the self-destructive habits and the choices that I'm making. You can actually just wake up one day and say, you know what, this isn't working for me anymore. Let me try some other things. Maybe hire a therapist, work with a coach, and pick up the self-help books, tune into the podcasts. There's so many free resources. You could literally just wake up one day and say, you know what, I'm not really happy with the way things. You do not have to almost kill yourself. You do not have to go through a life-altering thing. It's a choice.
Yeah, I was going to say, what is special about you, which is such a great modeling for other people, is that you decided, made a different decision, and there are all these resources out there, and you can actually, it's just a mindset shift and a decision, and really deciding that this is not for me anymore. I'm and discovering who am I now and what I want.
And it is not easy. Just because I'm sitting here today, some people are like, you don't look like what you've been through. That's why I really encourage women to share their story. When you get to that place of healing where you can do it without sobbing, and you can tell your testimony or your story, because people look at you today and like, oh, she's got it all together. She has a great marriage, she has a great business, and she's living with purpose, and she's fabulous, or whatever.
So today's topic is really about how to break free from your habits and move on to more in your life, discover the more. And breaking free of those habits can be, alcohol, it could be, drugs, it could be people pleasing.
Right.
People pleasing. I think we're all three
Reformed people,
in recovery,
work in progress. It's interesting when I think about almost losing my life, now that we're talking about this, and I think of the health issues I've had and come very close to being diagnosed with autoimmune disorders, is the people pleasing actually was more detrimental to my, not just my physical health and carrying the responsibility of thinking I have to manage everyone's emotion and walk on eggshells or tap dance around that I learned from a little girl, and most of us do. But I think that was more detrimental to my health than the drugs and alcohol.
I would believe that.
Tell me more about that. That's really powerful, because it's true. The mind and what we do, what we tell ourselves in our mind can either nourish us or create toxicity.
Brain doesn't know what's true or not. You tell your brain what's true.
Right.
So
You rewire
if you're
it.
just like not letting yourself be happy and you're not telling your brain what's actually true, your brain and heart are not going to resonate together, and that creates,
Discord.
illness, discord. Yeah.
Disconnected. And I tell people that even with hitting rock bottom, I was completely disconnected from my spirit. And I'm looking at all of your lovely art and thinking I was the most creative little child. I painted, I had to create Barbie worlds. Everything that I did had to be creating something. Both of my grandmothers sewed. I learned how to sew on the sewing machine. I made I made anything I could. I made little purses to match the outfits. And
Wow.
so I got to the point where I had trauma at 16 and just went the complete, all the little creativity, that little creative being that I was, I became full of shame, and I adopted all these masks. Oh, I can feel you. Let me shift how you feel at the detriment of my well-being. And for 17 years, and I went to school on an art scholarship. It was my life. I wanted to go to New York and work for a magazine, be a graphic artist. Couldn't even draw a stick figure.
Wow.
So when you think of the disconnection as a people pleaser, the disconnection with drugs and alcohol, you're numbing.
Yep.
So with people pleasing, what I found is that when you need to be everyone's rescuer and carry everyone's emotions, and you're not even so disconnected from your own emotions on a cellular level, it manifests into all kinds of dis-ease.
Yes.
Dis-ease. Ease. And
Exactly.
It's so powerful to hear that. So you disconnected from the sole source of who you are because you allowed other people, your attention was always on other people
Oh, yeah.
rather than on co-creating what it is you're here to do.
It's kind of like living through your inner child, and your inner child had to run away, Like,
It's so true. I mean, I put something on social media the other day that even going through health issues and, I'm going to bring up menopause because I made it through. But I thought this is an invitation to actually come home to myself.
Yes.
And I posted something about like midlife is becoming 16 again, but loving yourself this time.
Oh, I love that. That is
Especially
so
because I had trauma
true.
happen at 16 and
I've got chills, actually.
I know. And I'm like, I have a photo of myself on my desk at 8 years old that is my true essence. I am barefoot because I love to be barefoot on the grass. I love to be in nature.
Grounding.
I have little tan legs, cut off denim shorts, and a little cotton white shirt. And I'm posing. And I'm like,
That's
is
who I am.
who I am.
Right.
I lost her, or I neglected her for it makes me want to cry. And so it is that like reconnecting with your 8-year-old self, your 16-year-old self, and loving her way better this time.
Beautiful.
A little off topic, but it's interesting that like as a child, we kind of innately know who we are, what we're going to do. It doesn't have to be specific, but we know we're creative, we're artistic, we like to sing, all of that things. And then when we come into like teenage and 20s, we like lose ourselves. It's like, who am I? It's
Belonging is so important, especially your teen years.
Absolutely. The reason that is because developmentally, when we start moving into teenage years, preteen years, developmentally, we start moving away from family, mom and dad, and trying to find out who we are. That's the testing of boundaries. How do we, what fits for us? And so when we do that, it also is the transition from mom and dad make me feel safe to my peers now define me. And so I think that's the risky part and why the teenage years can be so fraught with so many traumas, because if we give ourselves away in order to be accepted or to find belonging, then we disconnect from who we truly are
Kind of
to try to be accepted into this clan, and we find
the people pleasing begins.
Yes, the people pleasing begins.
absolutely
Yeah.
if I become this, then they will accept me, therefore I am okay, or because we detach from parents and we move towards our peers. And that's where, and of course, think about peers leading peers. No one has the wisdom then.
No, I think back. And I remember wanting to hang out with the guys a lot more because
Did too.
yeah, I had guy best friends that I really gravitated toward because girls were so catty and gossipy.
Oh my gosh.
And just high maintenance, and
Right.
I was a tomboy.
And the boys develop behind the girls, and so for a time period they're really safe. They can just hang with you. They don't have an agenda. And at that same developmental age, around 5th grade, the girls start really trying to be the queen bee, and we start getting, like you said, a lot of the cattiness that's happening.
So no wonder you lose yourself when you're in this age, because I have a child in this age right now, so I'm witnessing it.
Right.
She's going to a birthday party, and they're all talking about what they're going to wear. They're all wearing jean shorts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why don't you wear what you feel like wearing? She's like, I really want to wear a dress. I'm becoming you. She told me that this morning. We're driving to school, and she's
what
like,
a compliment.
How nice is that?
she's like, I really just want to wear a dress, so I'm trying to get everybody to wear dresses because I feel better that way. And I was like, dresses are amazing. I love dresses too, and But so if you're always trying to be just like everybody else, you definitely lose each other, like yourself, and that would be so boring.
It's so boring. I mean, even with the influencer world, and I work on social media, it's the fashion and everyone looking the same and hawking the same thing and get this on my link. And I'm guilty of that, but I share things that I actually love. And it's not, and I love that the younger generation is actually getting into thrifting now. And that's something
Yes.
that I started doing. And I was a new waver. New waver, what is that? I'm like, hey, do you hear a flock of seagulls? They're like, Duran Duran, huh? I'm like, you don't know who Duran Duran is? Are you kidding me? But the individuality, that's why I did that, because I loved the individuality of expressing yourself as an art, because I was an artist. So I did not want to dress like all the cheerleaders and all the.
You have to be
right? So-
accepted too. You don't want to be a loser, like.
Yeah.
We crave connection. We crave that. That is in the human DNA. We want to belonging, and that's where it comes in. I think to really try to learn how to lift each other up and accept whatever that individuation is. In your peers or in your family or in your friends, that they don't have to look just like you.
Yeah.
It's okay, and see them for who they are.
Yeah, I love that.
Authenticity, and I know that's a big buzzword, but just
It's more attractive.
well, being clones of everyone, and it's kind of cute. Like we had our slang, like gag me with a spoon when you think of the 80s. You know what I mean? Like so rad, and every generation has their little way of speaking,
This
which is so
generation
cute.
is different.
No, I know. I don't even understand.
Oh, she could. My daughter could say a whole sentence, and I'd be like, I have no idea what you just.
And it changes all the time.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
there's little things like that it's really cute. You have a way of being together, and you have that connection. And then when you break apart, like, who are you? Who are you without this tribe? What do you stand for?
Right.
Right?
How do we know we're people pleasers? What are some signs of being a people pleaser while you're an adult?
One is being worried about everybody else's mood and taking, kind of merging with their mood instead of owning and letting other people hold theirs. So that's one tip.
Like, where do you start? And where do I start? And that was I had to heal from codependency. I feel like I'm still a work in progress with codependency. But it's even with my husband, sometimes in the house, you're just feeling that energy. And I used to always say, what's wrong? Right. Like hyper vigilant for like, I feel a little shift. What's wrong?
I think you're an energy person though too, so you feel people's
Totally.
energy.
Well, you become that. I believe when you are in that kind of household and being hyper vigilant,
Yes.
the term empath is used so wide. I think I think we are all created to feel each other, but it's heightened for children of a chaotic household. It's heightened because you have to go in and assess. And I knew when my dad's work truck drove up, it was like everybody like pay, like brace yourself. We don't know what we're gonna get.
Right,
Or
right.
Alcohol. He wasn't an alcoholic, but he could just come in angry.
Yeah.
and shift the whole household so everybody goes into dun 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 dun.
Yes.
What can or like run and hide.
Yeah, it's
So
like
as an adult,
self-preservation.
it's like even with my husband today, all these. So we're still learning this, not just in college, but in our 40s, 50s, and 60s.
Absolutely.
Is where do you start? You know what? If you're in a mood,
It's okay.
and I am going about my happy little bubble, and you feel what you're feeling, because I know I'm going to have a day where he's probably going to feel my energy shift. But where do we each stop and start, and not being responsible?
Not merge with each other's
not
energy.
merge.
Well, and that'd be harder as a couple, especially if you're really like closely connected, to not be affected by their energy if they come home. But
So difficult.
maybe using your words together, like if you see them come in the house, say, "Hey, I can tell that you're different. Like, what's going on?" Communication.
Totally.
I've learned that. Christian has taught me that a lot. I'm not a good communicator. That's the last thing I want to do. But he forced me to start communicating, not in a mean way, but and it's so much better. Like if you just say, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yep.
Right. Right. But that's the hardest thing to do for some people. Like
Right.
because we're like worried about, oh my gosh, we don't want to make them mad or something. But
we can feel their energy, so you might as well tell me anyway. I can feel it. So tell me so that we can just move on.
One of the best, and sometimes people don't know what they're feeling. And so you have to just be able to recognize, and it's okay if they have feelings. We don't have to fix that. And we can kind of just go about our day, and we can just acknowledge the other person. I'm just sensing something's wrong, but I'm here for you if you want to talk, and you can go on and own whatever else that you were doing.
Well, you see, it said the key word. I use the word rescue, but it's you feel responsible to fix everyone else's energy, their mood. If something they're dealing with, that you take it on as this responsibility, and it's not your responsibility. We're not everybody's fixer. I finally, in the fall, so maybe 3, 4, 5 months ago, I just all of a sudden with my family and different, I'm like, I am done being everybody's helper.
it's good.
And which is difficult as a coach, because it's what I do, and I want to help people and I want to serve people. But as a people pleaser, where do I put the boundaries on that I just bleed out, and like I'm supposed to be here bleeding out and putting my feelings, my integrity. When I started realizing that you set your integrity and you lower your standards, you compromise your own, that's when people pleasing really becomes a problem.
It's kind of just like the airplane thing. You got to put your mask on first,
Right.
before you put your child's mask on. Because if you're not feeding yourself energy and being taking care of yourself, how can you take care of anybody else?
Yeah.
Right. So that leads into the next thing that you can kind of look at as for a sign is when you are giving to the point of resentment, where it's taking away from you. There's nothing wrong with loving people, but when you start overgiving and not allowing yourself to be filled or even holding your own energy, that's another sign.
Well, yeah, they're taking because we're giving.
Well, and they do, and they do, and it's interesting how the people pleaser will attract those type of people.
Yes.
Right, and a big learning lesson. So much I know for a lot of people in 2025 was really a year of so much revelation and growth and pruning, shedding, refining, and I realized that with being a helper that when you allow someone your energy a few times, that's the pattern that you create with that person. So I would get these long voice memos, and I'm thinking, I need to charge you my hourly rate is $250. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I can't. What makes you think? And then it was that respect thing. Like, I would never do that to someone. Leave a 10-minute voice memo of trauma dump. Yes.
Wow.
You can leave. I didn't even know you could leave a voice memo that long.
I would have been like, wow. No, thank you.
Right? Instead of, well, everybody's an energy vampire and everyone drains me. Well, let me look at the common denominator here, and that is moi. And take responsibility and ownership and set some boundaries. And, you aren't allowed. You are access denied.
I like that.
Access
Stamped.
denied. Like,
No more. That's right.
One thing I experienced, I had different people pleasing things. I was always like pulled to like go to do things, like go to the bar here, go to this thing, go to these events. Like my friends would be like, you gotta go to this thing. You have to do here. You have to do here. I'm like, I really just want to be home alone right now. I just want to like be in my own space. But I felt I had to go or I wouldn't be a good friend. So that's another people pleaser sign.
It is. So when your soul is saying no, but you're wanting to say yes, or you're finding yourself wanting to say yes when your soul is saying no.
Yeah.
No is a complete sentence. We don't need to explain.
Yeah, and the over explaining with the people pleasing, I just had this conversation with one of my sweet SMU girls, and I said, when you look at the self-abandonment, you're abandoning yourself, and you're a mama to a daughter. So it's like you have to become your own mama bear in that moment and say, okay, what do you really need right now? Well, I've had a long week. I'm really tired. I'm so in tune with my nervous system now, just with health issues. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, that place is really loud. It's overstimulating. We have to yell across so I leave there empty, like I didn't have a great conversation with anyone. My nervous system is fried. My voice hurts from screaming. Probably had a cocktail too many that I didn't need. Then I'm going to, that's going to affect my next day.
And you have to go home
And
and
so
take care
now
of your
I'm
kid.
like, you know what, sister? I love y'all. But that place is way too loud for me. Call me. Some of my friends call me. I'm like, I'm baby grandma. I'm baby grandma. But I am saying no to that place. If y'all want to get together, just a few people at X, Y, and Z. And I had to learn to advocate for myself and then say, no, thank you. But I always say, you girls have fun. Yeah. You girls have fun. And I have JOMO. I have joy of missing out. I have
We need to close
JOMO.
that.
Yes. Because if it is not a hell yes, I got to be there, it is a no.
Well, thank you for being here today.
Yes, exactly.
But you know what? I found this, and it was a lesson that I learned, and Christian taught me that again. He taught me a lot of things because he's very like that. I found that I've done that when I started being myself and doing what I want to do and helping when I need to help and being there when I want to be there. People either chose to continue to be in my life or they chose to respect me.
Exactly.
Right, nice.
That is such a great word. When you actually heal people pleasing and voice your standards, voice what it is that you want to do and what you have going on and what is best for you, you actually gain respect. People pleasers lose respect.
I know, and it's the exact opposite of what we think when we're trying to people please. We're trying to stay in it, but
Yeah, I was going to say that I've been in codependency recovery, started in my 20s. And again, it's a lifelong journey, but I've learned so much. And really, the bottom line of codependency or people pleasing is that we try to make everybody okay so we can be okay. Yes. Because many people that are, born into people pleasing grow up with instability and chaos and not knowing what to expect. And so, like you were saying, Tiffany, our nervous system is lit up and we're just trying to make ourselves safe. So,
It's so
when you
true.
do the work to figure out your own stuff and you can stand confidently in your own space,
Sovereign.
then we don't have to, we don't have to make other people anything different. We can hold our own energy.
Well, and with the resentment that you were speaking about, those friends that you're like, man, gosh, and you think, was she just being a bitch? No, she's being sovereign. This is what works for her. And as a people pleaser, I would be around people and I just be like, how did she do that? Like she just said what she wanted or said no. And like, she's not taking it on and not making it a big deal. And, it seems like, but I said that too, to several. I needed the advice when I'm like, the bitch has to rise up in you. And it's not in a disrespectful way. And I'm just saying that off the cuff, but it's true.
the bitch has to rise up.
It's like the bitch has to rise up.
And it's even sad that it got the name bitch because
You could just be the woman and you
we
need to
just
rise
need to
The
hold
queen, and I use
our
queen for a long
own
time.
power.
Yeah.
Hold our own power.
It feels so good, too.
And not in an
do. So
arrogant
good.
way, but in a grounded way.
Totally grounded.
And we don't have to have an air of anything other than we can walk our own path and understand what it is that we want to be in this world.
Maybe 5 years ago, I was not myself. And it comes back to becoming your inner child again.
Yes.
Accessing that, because that's your true being, that's your true self, and that's your true alignment.
Right.
And when you reach that, it feels so good. And then people around you recognize you. They're like, I've even had friends because I have a lot of lifelong friends. They're like, I always knew this was you, who you were. You just went somewhere else for a while.
Nice,
I was
nice.
like, I don't know how I feel about that, but
it's such a
it's
great
a compliment.
affirmation. Yeah, it's like, it's an affirmation of, and I always say you don't always see how far you've come or how much you've grown until you get out and people with the people. Right? It's like, how do you know unless you're in that circumstance again and how you're going to respond or react to it? And it's like, oh man, I wouldn't have handled this or been in this energy even just 2 months ago, much less 2 years ago, so it's a great affirmation when someone that has known you for a long time and through different seasons to say, I had a woman that has followed me since my YouTube channel, so, a decade or so, and I'm coming back. It's like, the lose yourself through these different, whether you're postpartum or in like the hormonal stuff with women, you feel like you lose yourself. That's the thing that I think we always say. But I'm like, I've lost some of the menopause weight. I can fit into my clothes again. I always love fashion. And so the creativity and the inner child is coming back to life in me. And a woman that's been part of my community for a really long time, she said, this is the Tiff that we've missed.
this is a tip.
And at first I was like, oh, that hurts me that, I didn't.
Yeah, it's mixed
was
emotions.
I was like, is that a backhanded compliment? I wasn't showing up in the way for my community. But again, to your point, it's like, oh, well, it's a little sad. It's bittersweet to hear that. It's like, oh, I lost myself for 5 years.
So what can we give our listeners if they're feeling stuck, if they're people pleasing, if they have a bad habit they just can't get over? What are some things that have worked for you guys to get over that? Like, I like to say, like, we have our platform, My Wellness by Nature, small changes for big results. I would say just make one small change today.
Yeah.
If it's drinking alcohol, trade it in for a mocktail and choose to. Like, think about that. Right. And then the next day, choose to trade it in for a mushroom drink, something that's like healthy or whatever.
I had to do that with kombucha. We had this like clockwork at 5 o'clock. We would pour our cheap barefoot Pinot Grigio.
Oh my gosh.
So classy.
I'm a musician and, I'm working out, starving artists. And we would go to CVS and get the Magnum bottle. It was so cheap. And then when I really had to get a handle on my relationship with alcohol, I used the wine glass but filled with kombucha, which does have a little trace of alcohol. But yeah, you have to not just maybe make the change, but replace it with a good habit.
It's kind of like smoking, like they're used to this, right? And so they change it out with like pop, whatever, like something in their mouth. So yeah, that makes sense. If you just like, it's the drinking habit, and
Right.
it has to be something that relaxes.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Right. I think there's another real great tip, and that is the sacred pause. Allowing yourself, when somebody has asked you to do something and you're kind of, you're like, no, you don't want, but you don't maybe have the boundaries developed yet to say something, you don't have to say anything at that moment. You can just say, I'll get back to you.
Yes.
And then we can kind of get ourselves in a good place, and then we can speak our truth and say no. Thank you I always say thank you for asking, but I'm not going to be able to today.
For the people pleaser, that is a hard
huge.
exercise. Yeah.
But texting makes it easier because you can be like, I didn't read it, sorry. That's what I do.
But I think it's just really giving yourself some time to speak the truth, even if you don't have access to it immediately.
Well, and feel into the nervous system. I always say practice the pause, because when you're reacting, and people pleasers react because you don't want that silence. And I'm thinking of a client right now that I worked with that it was so difficult for them. And then she finally said, you know what? I'm not ready. This is my identity. I've got to help everybody, and everybody loves me for it.
And there's just more work to do there.
Yeah. And so I said, okay, then when you're ready to do the work, come back. I'll be here.
Right.
But she couldn't practice the pause. It was too uncomfortable. And that's when they say, yes, I'm available. Right. And then it's like later on, they're resenting it, like to your point earlier.
Exactly.
I don't really want to go, and now I've got to go. And it's like the whole 48 hours lead up that you're.
I remember when I was back in my 20s and I started my own path to recovery in this way. And it was painful. It's like viscerally painful
Yes.
because you're so afraid of rejection.
Yeah, it's
or you're so
emotions,
afraid
yeah.
of being not, people won't like me and then I'm not going to belong, right? So you have to understand really what drives the behavior to begin
Yes.
with. So you've got to know what drives that. And when you do, then and you can deal with that and undo the negative belief system there, because the people that are meant to be in your life will be naturally
Yes,
in your life.
yes.
And if some people may leave, and that's okay. But
Totally.
we have to know
Probably better.
we'll be okay if they leave.
Yeah.
That we're going to be okay. So for the listener that's not there yet, it's okay. But get some, help with that so that you can work on that journey to be okay in setting healthy boundaries. Because otherwise, you're held captive, and that's going to end up leading to the resentment.
Those people who are those people in our lives, I call them energy vampires.
Yeah. To your point, this is what I learned, and it might have been the angels, it might have been in a meditation, but when I really started healing people pleasing, I saw siphons hooked up to me. And I'm like, wow, I'm letting people, I take ownership. I am letting people hook up to me with a siphon, like you do when you siphon gas out of a car. I literally saw these tubes hooked up to me, and I chose to take them out. And I even had the meditation and the visual that the little hole that was left
Matrix,
was like
the Matrix.
oh, is that the Matrix? Oh, it's so long ago. I don't.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I don't even remember that from that. This was a meditation that I had. I was like, wow, I'm taking ownership that I'm allowing people to do this. They're going to do it if you let them. So that was the freedom to say, okay, I'm detaching, and then knowing and having the discernment. And because we can feel the energy and saying, okay, green flag, green alert, this person feels light. They feel
Yeah.
like, I call it pure energy.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, you can feel the heaviness, and now I know, or it's the voice memo that I don't want to plug into that I detach from it, and then I stay light. Otherwise, you are going to just be tapped out.
I would
constantly.
say pay attention to how you feel after you've been around a person.
Oh yeah, for
Right.
sure.
If you feel tired and you just need to like go somewhere else, like be alone, then they're
Or take a spiritual bath.
Right? Yeah. Well, I think it's such a great point when in formal recovery, I was in Al-Anon for many years trying to learn how to go into healing my own codependency. They talk about the first thing is that you need to detach. And eventually you really try to work on detaching with love. But at the beginning, you just need to detach any way you can so that you can get enough distance to start examining yourself and the changes that need to be happening there.
no wonder we're all struggling with this because we're never detached. We have social media. We're never ever detached.
Right. Yeah. But we can choose to be. That's the real message. You can choose to be. You can choose to turn off the phone, social media, or just spend an evening by yourself instead of out with the girlfriends, and choose to get back to the source of peace and divine inspiration. And we can do that through meditation. We can do that through reading a inspiring, book, things that feed you. But it is about reading people's energy and reading your own energy.
And that's to tag on to that with changing habits, making that one small change. And I know we've all discussed this before because we're all artists, is the year before I hit rock bottom, an angel friend, like a friend of a guy I was dating, just random. It wasn't and his name was Christian.
Oh,
He was blonde,
wow.
blonde hair, blue eyed. So crazy.
Wow.
And he said, I just feel led to give you The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. And the morning pages changed my life because I never sat still. I never wanted to be alone. I was a workaholic. I was on sets. Then I was helping everybody, or I mean, to sit alone and actually be alone in my thoughts was so scary. So when that first exercise to reconnect with that little inner artist is 3 pages of the morning dump, just whatever's in your brain. And then now, all these years later, I hit rock bottom in 2002. So this book was given to me in 2001. To this day, if I go even a whole day, much less 2 mornings without at least one journal entry, which is usually a prayer because I need some structure because I'm all over the place, transformed. And that's where I started understanding. And then it went on to where I tell women that are like, oh, men, there's no men. And I'm like, there are men everywhere.
There's 50%.
They are
Like,
really,
back
that's
in the
so
day,
true.
I had dated all these same types of guys because
That's what you were
common denominator. So I remember writing spiral notebook after spiral notebook about the type of men. Even when I look at my husband's hands, sometimes I'm like, I wrote about those hands. I wrote everything. I wrote, and I think God gave me more than I even asked for, but I even journaled about the type of person I wanted to spend my life with, what we were going to do.
You're manifesting.
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
But I had to get quiet, and I actually had to start spending a lot of time. Now I love it. I crave it. I love being alone. I love my morning time and my meditations. I could just stay in that all day, and I tend to have a meditative state all day long. You don't have to just meditate for 5 minutes. You can live in that state. But that's how it started for me, is that in a lot of my clients, they're like, I don't even know what to write. I only got 2 sentences. I said, you start with 2 sentences.
Start somewhere.
Right, whatever
But
is in your
that
mind.
means that you really, really are going to benefit from this, because you don't even. One thing that changed my life, I believe it was in Julia Cameron's, is what do you want? And so I wrote at the top of a journal entry, what do I want? And you just sit there and you're like, what do I really want? Not what my friends are doing, not what my agents and my modeling, but what do I really want to do? And you just start letting that stream of, oh my gosh, and then I would love to do this. And women, because they don't know what they want.
Well, they don't
really
take
don't know
enough
what-
time. They're so used to attending to everybody else, they don't turn that focus back on me. I was 44 before I asked myself the question. And it was in an Al-Anon room, and I thought, what is it that Cindy's life is going to speak of? It was a light bulb moment when I realized I was running around trying to save people that didn't have any desire to be saved.
No, why do
why do we wear the
That's
cape?
crazy
Why
making.
do we do that? But anyway, it was a huge aha moment for me. And at that point, and I think the 44 is kind of significant because so
I'm
many.
turning 44 this year.
There we are. It tends to
amazing.
be kind of our midlife, right? Where we all start turning back and asking ourselves, we review our life from there and wondering what's ahead. And it's a wonderful, people tend to have a negative thought about that. It's a beautiful,
Oh, it's so beautiful.
it's a cocooning and then a rebirth. It's kind of the
butterfly.
the butterfly syndrome, the metamorphosis is calling us into review and recreation. And to your point, I was going to bring up for our listeners, Julia Cameron has a new book out called It's Never Too Late to Begin Again.
Oh, yeah, you told me.
And she wrote that book when she was in retirement, and she moved I think it was in New Mexico, and just decided, what does this chapter have for me? And it had been years since she had written the bestseller, but she thought it is not too late to redefine ourselves, even in late years, in our
Yes.
60s after retirement. It's never too late. It's always a beautiful journey. So it's, wherever you are, you're right on time.
Oh, I have that on my vision board. I have it.
It's on there.
Because I was saying I'm a late bloomer. I'm like, no, I'm not. No. I am right on time in every season, and embracing that I went through all that I went through
To get here.
to get to where, even at 44, I'm thinking about it. There's been this resurgence of Real Housewives of Dallas, and like people just starting to watch it.
Really?
And
Wow.
This year, April 11th, my number's 11. It launched. It premiered 10 years ago. I was 44.
Oh, look at that.
And that was the most pivotal experience, almost more so than hitting rock bottom and in that moment. that was such a wake-up call. Taught me I was a people pleaser because it was airing on television. I got to see it.
You were
The
so
whole
different.
thing.
Like, I don't even know that, Tiffany. Like,
No,
you
my
were,
friends were all talking about it yesterday because, like, people, from the different part of the world, they'd be like, "Oh, I just, some country." They're like, "I just started season 1." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, wow!"
but you can see your
but
growth. You can see your growth.
you're a baby. I'm like, all you bitches, like all you bitches that hitting 40 and you think you're getting old. I shot this at 44 and was barely. I made a joke. I was like, I was barely perimenopause. If we did this again post-menopause, I was half the Spitfire I am now. I don't know. I don't know if those women would survive.
'Cause you're not a
with me
people
being
pleaser.
post- But anyway,
That's the gift of menopause.
I digress. Yeah. But 40, it's so beautiful.
I'm
That
enjoying
happened
it.
for you at 44, something very, very pivotal for me.
I'm changing. So I'm not 44 yet,
No, you've got almost the whole year. Yeah.
but I have been experiencing that. Like, you guys have both seen it. Like, suddenly I like to paint. I don't know why. Like, I'm
Right.
not worrying about, like, I used to be nonstop. Go, 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 go. Like, we're going to go here. We're going to go here. We're going to do this.
Right.
And my Christian and Ashlyn are confused by it. They're like, I've never seen you so peaceful. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, I just go upstairs and paint.
Nice.
And I'm just like quiet and like, just,
Yeah.
And your nervous system
it
is
calms me down.
recalibrating. And that is, especially for moms, when you're a young mom, you just have to be in overdrive. You have human beings to feed and clothe.
yeah.
So I see it with a lot of the women that I work with, that their kids get to be, especially if they're driving, their kids get to be about 16, and then all of a sudden they're like, I'm not needed.
Yeah, it's
And
really
I can
weird.
slow down. It feels really weird, and I'm kind of bored.
Maybe that's what
But go
happened.
through the-
It's a shift.
That's what happened.
And then
My son went to college,
Right. Right.
and I have okay. So I've told this to Christian many times. I've never been an adult and had my own life. Because I had my baby very young, and so I've never been an adult and like figured out who I was as an adult. I've just always been living
So
for these other.
beautiful.
But now I'm like,
It is.
is that Casey?
It's like a second adolescence, really. It's
Yeah,
just kind of like you can really realize and expand what you've been doing and try out
And
different
it's
things.
beautiful. I don't. I have a lot of friends that are my age, and I don't see them making this transition yet. And I'm like, they talk to me about it, and I can tell that it's kind of like tingling in their brain, but
Yeah.
they don't get there. And I just wonder, do most people actually have that transition, or do they just continue living like that their whole lives?
Well, that saying that always freaks me out when I come across it is that most people live the same year 80 times.
Oh, that's powerful.
So when you
Wow.
think of that, right? So even with the women that I work with, I'm working with a beautiful 59-year-old. She's about to be 60, and she's just starting social media, and she's really picking up this idea of empowering other people through her mode of healing. And she's in Hawaii, and so I'm like, sister, we want your videos. You've got the whole set. Just take a walk and video and talk to us in your setting. And just this beautiful. She's native, and so she's got a little bit of an accent, and she's 59, just starting out on this journey. And
It's beautiful she's
and
doing.
I know, and having raised her kids and understanding about herself and talking about some things that she loved when she was a teenager. And so, yeah, we pray that most women will go through that and not live the same year 80 times.
Well, I've loved this conversation.
Me too. Thanks for having me.
I think we're going to have to break this into two different conversations because it's been so much, but so much greatness.
Yeah.
So thank you, ladies, so much for this conversation. I think people will resonate with this and grow from it. I hope they
And elevate their life.
yes, elevate it,
Ascend.
ascend their
Go
lives,
higher, rise up.
raise your life.
Yeah, thanks. I'm proud of you. I just want to say that. I'm very proud of you. This is a huge, life-changing, world-giving, life-giving platform that you guys have created, and still it's evolving and growing and ascending, and you're getting on the mic.
You told me,
I'm proud of
told
you.
me this years ago, like you need to be the face of your brand. Like,
You're doing it. I mean, we're going back to seasons. Everything has a season. And, when you're a mama and look, your son's gone off to college, so you have that bandwidth and that space to so I'm proud of you.
Well, thank you for inspiring me too. It's been an inspiring friendship, both of you. Like you, it's just greatness. I enjoy it so much. So thank you once again for joining us, and join us next week on the Ascended Table, because we're going to have to break this up into two because Tiffany was so great. So next week, you'll see the conclusion of this episode. So thank you for pulling up a chair, and we'll see you next time at the Ascended Table.